Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tiger Talk. Gerard Welbrock with you as we talk Fort Hays State basketball with women's coach Tony Hobson and men's coach Mark Johnson.
On the Tiger Sports Network. This is Tiger Talk.
Good Monday.
Live from the
Welcome
Golden
into
Q
Talk.
in Hayes.
We are, at least
the
I am
Golden
at the
Q,
Golden Q
dining,
in
billiards,
Hayes.
and
We'll be
more.
joined here
At
momentarily by
8:09
Fort Hays State women's
Ash, the
basketball
Golden
coach Tony
Q.
Hobson, men's coach
If the game
Mark
is on,
Johnson.
we're open.
As,
Tiger
we
Talk
review
is also
road
brought to you
trip
by
through
these premier
Oklahoma.
Tiger sponsors.
Getting a couple
Golden
of
Belt
wins. The
Bank of
men
Hayes and
going
Ellis,
2-1,
providing the
playing
best
3
in-home
games in
loans to the
4
Tiger
days,
community
both
since
coming off a really rough
1920.
stretch of 5
BTI,
games over
your
a
John Deere
10-day
dealer,
span,
with
but both
locations
did
in Buckland,
very well,
Great
and now
Bend,
get set for
Greensburg,
that final
Hoxie,
push
Nest
to 2
City, and
weeks left
Pratt.
in
The
regular
Taco
season.
Shop,
The
dine
men
in,
and
carry
women
out, or
return home
delivery.
Thursday
You've
night
never
against
had it so
Lincoln,
good. And
Saturday
G&L
afternoon,
Tire and
Central
Automotive.
Missouri
Complete automotive
comes
care and
to town
tires for all
the
driving
final home
conditions.
game for the women. Men have to
201
make
East
up next
8th on the
week.
Bricks in
Western,
downtown
they
Hayes.
both are on the
Now,
road to
the
wrap up
voice of the
regular season
Tigers,
next week, and
Gerard
then tournament time.
Welbrock.
And the season rapidly winding to a close, and Fort Hays State women in a tie for first place. They win both their games in Oklahoma, tie with Nebraska Kearney and with Central Missouri for first place in the MIAA. And with that, we bring in the head coach of the Fort Hays State women, Tony Hobson. Obviously a good road week. You win a couple of games. You had to play a 3 and a 5 day stretch of that makeup game Monday with Missouri Western, and team came through that grind because that was not an easy road trip down in Oklahoma, but came away with a couple of nice wins, and here you are, still tied for first going into the final 2 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, I was happy with our road trip down to Oklahoma after playing Monday night, and then on short turnaround we had to leave a little early because of possible weather. We wanted to make sure we could get there and not be, on those roads at night at least. And so we left early on Wednesday and made the road trip seem a little longer. But the girls paid attention to what they needed to, took care of business, and we had 2 good games.
We had a show Monday. Obviously, hadn't played the game yet with Missouri Western. You won that game, but just felt maybe a half step off. I think some of that was Missouri Western. I thought they played well, considering they had a nightmare of a day traveling to get here. But the start time got pushed back, and it just felt like everything was just off a step in that contest. But yet your team found a way to win that game.
Well, and I agree. I think we weren't as sharp as we should have been or had been in recent memory. But I also think hats off to Missouri Western for coming up that day. Same day, it's a pretty long trip, and they played hard and did a good job against us. And I think evidence proved that out when on Thursday they beat Northwest Missouri by 25, and then they turned around Saturday and beat Pitt State. So they had 2 good wins after that Monday trip to our place. So maybe they're a little bit better than I thought they were, but still that wasn't our best effort. And we were, I don't know, a little lackadaisical and looked tired, but found a way to win anyway.
And then you came back, and we even talked about it after that game, going to this road trip. You went to Claremore, Rogers State on Thursday. Quite frankly, they should have beat you there a year ago, and give them credit. They came out ready to play. They gave you all you wanted, but your team found a way to finally pull away. They're obviously a much better team this year than they were a year ago, and that was a hard-fought win, but your team did obviously what you needed to do to come away with a win there.
Well, they're much more organized than they were last year. Their point guards improved a lot, and anytime you have 3 or 4 good offensive players, if the other team's off at all shooting the ball, you can stay in the game because you can score a little bit. First half, I think we're tied at the end of the first half. The second half, I thought we played really about as good a half as we'd had for 3 or 4 games, and played well, executed well, got good play out of several people, and pulled away in that second half.
Yeah, you had a 16-2 run, including 11 straight, over about a, 4.5 minute stretch, and that was really kind of the difference in the game. It was tied up until then, and that's one thing that your team has had a knack to do, whether it be one big quarter, one big stretch in a quarter, but an ability to take a tight game and make it not so tight in a pretty short period of time.
Well, I thought the first half we'd got some good shots. We just could not get anything to go in, and we just didn't want to get in a rush the second half and take too quick of shots, make sure we were still getting quality shots, and then just trust that you'll start making a few of them, and we did. Anytime you can go the first half and be tied and Jaden didn't even score, you got to feel lucky. And the scoring came the second half from, Bergman had a big half, so did Whitney Randall. Olivia had a good game, recording a double-double with 11 points and 10 boards, and seems to really have maybe turned the corner on figuring out this college rebounding thing. So it's good when you can get it from some place that you don't normally do, because, some kids are sometimes they're off just a little bit, and that's why you have a team and you have more than one person that can score.
You mentioned Sydney. Any update on her? Obviously, it's probably the downer of the whole weekend was her going down in the very first possession of that ball game on Saturday against Northeastern State.
Well, for whatever reason, we can't even get a look at it until next Monday.
Wow.
Can't get an MRI for, it's a shame, 9 days. I'm not optimistic. I am when I talk to her. I hope she doesn't watch this. But, just with women's basketball and the number of knees that seem to happen every year to a lot of teams. And, I mean, if you even look at our team right now, right at half of the kids that play on our team have had an ACL at some time in their career. Maddie, Jaden, Sydney Galladay, Lauren, you just go down the line. And if they play long enough, it seems like, 60, 70% of them have an ACL, and it's just a bad part of the women's game. It's, I think, 8 times more prevalent than in the men's game as far as ACL. So I'm not optimistic, but we're holding out hope that maybe we can get her for the last few weeks of the season back. And I think that's how they will rehab it. But it's just the odds are against it.
Well,
and it was a great weekend turns into crap because of that. I feel so bad for her. I feel bad for our team, but worse for her because she's having such a great year.
Oh, yeah.
Really a breakout year for us. I mean, she's on pace to maybe be an all-conference player, an all-defensive team player, all those things. And, it's just going to be a big disappointment for her if she can't come back.
Well, we'll certainly cross our fingers. Hopefully she's able to come back as the Tigers try to make their run for a conference crown and NCAA tournament, all those things that are still ahead of them. We're going to take our first break. We'll be back with more with Tony Hobson. Tiger women got 3 nice wins last week, a couple of home games this week. In fact, getting down to your final chances to see the Tigers here at home. We'll talk about that and more as we continue. We are at the Golden Q. It is Tiger Talk on this Monday here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction. Here's Randall left wing, pump fake, now a jab step. She'll dribble down the lane, a floater from 10, no good. Rebound, Hollenbeck spins her 2 defenders and banks it in. Olivia Hollenbeck with the stick back. The last 2 baskets for Fort Hays State, second chance opportunities, and they lead by 4, 11-7. That was early on Thursday down in Claremore against Rogers State. Tigers go on to win that game by a final score of 71-56. 2 nights later, they would knock off Northeastern State 70-58 to move to 16-2, tied for first with Kearney and Central Missouri atop the MIAA standings. This is Tiger Talk, and we're at the Golden Q in Hays, where they have a new Thursday special, the Cuban Sandwich. House smoked pulled pork, sliced ham, Dijon mustard, pickles, and Swiss cheese. Stop on by $9.49 plus tax, served with fries or tots, the Cuban sandwich. Of course, the Monday special is the grilled cheeseburger and loaded baked potato as well here at the Golden Q. Just 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. We heard that highlight with Olivia, 10 rebounds on Thursday, 11 boards on Saturday, and you kind of touched on in that first little segment there how maybe she's kind of figured it out. That was kind of the one area you could see her offensive production had been getting better, passes the ball well, doing a lot of good things, but now that rebounding is coming to form. And obviously when you start playing big games, that's such a key element anytime you play. But to get her in that mix now of rebounding well, that's a good sign.
Well, it is, and I think that was really the part of her game that, we'd been kind of on her about, and something that she needed to improve to be as good a player as I think she can be in this league. And she made one statement that kind of sums up how you have to adjust going from high school to college at the post position, and that's she says, well, whenever I went after a rebound in high school, I got a foul called on me. Because it's just not physical, and you can't, and that's just how high school ball is. A lot of times you just can't bump into somebody, and usually if there's two people that do bump into each other, the big person gets the foul. Usually the small person will fall down or something. And so anyway, it's a hard adjustment for freshman post players to come in and be physical right away, because it's something that's kind of against their nature for a while. And I think she's doing better. And I think she really grew up the week we played Kearney twice, and she understood she had to, or she was going to get taken to school. And then the next week against the Johnson from Central Oklahoma, so she had a good game. So she's playing against some of the better post players and had some good games against them. So I think with that, I think her confidence is growing. And we've also been able to get Jessie better minutes and more, people say, well, why weren't you playing her more earlier? And because she wasn't playing as good. When she gets in there and is so productive that she's earned those minutes. And now we basically have one or the other of them in most of the time, unless we have a defensive issue where we want to switch screens.
And I know we've talked about it before with Jessie, that little turnaround fadeaway jump shot. That is a thing of beauty. When it doesn't go in, you're almost shocked because it's almost automatic. It's tough to defend too. I mean, just with her size and that touch on that shot, that's going to be a pretty valuable weapon for her entire career.
Well, I think so too. And the only thing I don't like about it is that she doesn't shoot it quite enough. And I believe she said on the post-game show, I don't know, a few games ago, it was one of the home games, that we helped her develop that. And she was being kind because, no, she had that when she got here. She's got some guard skills because she had to use them in high school on occasion. And but anyway, she's developing and doing a good job for us off the bench.
She had 6 rebounds on Saturday in the win over Northeastern State to go along with her 4 points on 2 of 5 shooting. And that was another tight game. I mean, Northeastern, again, not a bad team. They've struggled to string a lot of wins together, but they've got some parts. You catch them on a night, they shoot it well, and they hit some threes in that game. You have your hands full. And those are dangerous games. Last game on this long road trip, it was cold. I mean, all those factors go into it when you travel, and I thought your team did a good job kind of weathering the early storm, Sydney going down with the injury, and then, once you kind of found your groove, you guys were off to the races.
Well, especially the way they shot the ball from the 3 to get out of there with a double-digit win, I thought was good. Somebody asked me before we played them, how good's Northeastern? I said, they're just good enough to beat you if you're not ready to play, evidenced by them beating Washburn back-to-back games. At Washburn, they beat them. I think the scores were almost identical. Yeah. Both games in the 40s, low scoring, and they're very good offensively. They have 2 or 3 kids that are hard to guard on an individual basis, and you just have to play good team defense. And I thought inside our defense was fine. They did make about every open 3 they had, and a couple where they weren't open. So give them credit. They shot the ball well, but I thought, in the third quarter, when we had a good third quarter, I looked out there and, Bergman's already gone. Whitney's off the floor with 3 fouls. I took Jaden out with about the 6.5, about 7 minutes in, because I knew she wasn't going to make it through the whole game at a high effective rate. So I wanted to give her a little rest. So I look out there and I see one starter. I see Galladay out there with 3 other freshmen, Emma, Katie, Jessie. and then Maddie.
Yep.
So we have 4 kids off the bench. We have Galladay in there, and they played great the last 3 minutes of the third quarter, and it actually extended the lead, did a really good job. So sometimes, somebody fresh off the bench, if they're ready to go, is can be more effective than your starters if they're tired. And sometimes it's just a matter of me trusting them, and sometimes it's just a matter of them being ready. But they were ready the other night.
They had a little 8-0 run to build a 13-point lead late in the third, and then you kind of close the game strong, going an 11-2 run, and win that game by a 78-58 final margin in that one. But it was a nice win for the Tiger women, now 16-2, and back at home, big week. Lincoln on Thursday, obviously a big showdown with Central Missouri coming up Saturday afternoon. We'll talk about that and more as we continue. We're at the Golden Q, where the poutine burger is new to the arsenal. The 6-ounce beef patty, sesame seed bun, crinkle fries, 4-ounce brown mushroom gravy, and some cheddar cheese curd at the poutine burger here at the Golden Q, 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. We'll take a break. Back with more with women's coach Tony Hobson here on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
Fact: 8th Street Liquor is where good times start. Next fact: 8th Street Liquor has the best selection and prices on beer, liquor, and wine. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the facts, but the fact of the matter is, you just can't get better than 8th Street Liquor. Yep, 8th Street Liquor, where good times start. That's the fact. Jack? Oh yes, they have plenty of Jack too.
2 on the shot clock for the Tigers. Hobbs will inbound left baseline. Jaden gets the ball from official Jeff Falconer. In the corner, Middy fires up a 3. Good at the shot clock. Madison Middy, her first point since a 3-point play early on. 57-43. The Tigers are on an 8-0 run, and they have their biggest lead of the game. And that was early in the fourth quarter on Saturday down in Tahlequah. It was a nice play, 2 on the shot clock. And you're limited what you can do, and she popped open, and Maddie will make more of those than she misses. And that was a nice play there, and that kind of got you where you felt pretty good about the proceedings the rest of the way on Saturday. Yeah,
that was a big play just to kind of stem the tide a little bit. They were kind of making a little run back at us, and it is demoralizing for them.
Yeah,
they
really
had us up against it, and I was thinking about calling a timeout and making sure we wanted to get a play where we could get something off quick. And then I saw Maddie in the corner, and I knew Jaden knew what was going on, so we just rolled with it. And I don't think they were quite set, and so sometimes that can work in your favor, just like timeouts late in the game. Sometimes just go in the open floor and go. And it was kind of the same thing. When you got smart kids out there, a lot of times they can make a play, and the other team doesn't have time to get set either.
Well, big week coming up. Obviously, every week's big, but now with your squad tied for first, Lincoln here on Thursday, and then Central Missouri Saturday afternoon. Obviously, that could be for first place. Will be in some regard, but always scary when you got that game in between. Lincoln hasn't won a lot, but then you look, they gave Emporia State all they wanted last week in Emporia, and we talked about it before you played them the first time. They're so much more improved. I mean, just the way they play. I don't care how you label it, a trap game, red flag it, however you want. Obviously, Thursday's a scary game just in the sense of what lies ahead on Saturday.
Well, on paper, everybody looks at it and they think we can play however we want to play and play whatever people we want to play, and we're going to beat them. And that's not true. Not only have they have a win, but they've played Emporia close. They lost an overtime game, I think, at Rogers. They got beat on the last possession by Northeastern. Those were both on the road. They're just dangerous. I mean, a typical explanation for them is, I don't know how far we were up in the third quarter down there, but I think it was 23. And I don't know, they can really run, and they get in the open court and get to the free throw line. And the next time I looked up, we're up 9, and it's just something that you just have to you have to pay attention to them and you have to prepare for them just like you would any other game where they have the capability of being able to sneak up on you, and we just have to avoid that. If we don't win that one, the one on Saturday isn't near as important. So we want to make sure that Saturday game is for something, and to do that, we have to take care of business Thursday. It will be senior night on Thursday for us, and we're just honoring one senior because our others are all coming back. But Madison, she's going to move on and go on to school in speech pathology. She's in a program that it would kind of mess her up if she stayed, and so this is her last year, and so we'll be honoring her on Thursday night for senior night.
Well, that'll be a lot of fun to give her recognition. And one of those players never fills up a stat sheet, but just does so many little things that help you win basketball games. And she's been such a vital part, has gone through injury and all those things too on this team. She's been as key as anybody in the program. Oh,
she has. And this is her 5th year because she did set out a year with a knee injury. And, people forget that towards the end of her freshman year, she was in the starting lineup. And then she hurt her knee in postseason stuff. And just been a good, solid player and such a solid person in our program. Just fun to be around, and her teammates really like her. And it's been good for us. It's been good for her. And if you look back, she's hit more than her share of big shots. It seems like big threes. If you go back over the 3, 4, 5 year period that she's been here, that her name is on the end of that made three a lot of times. So she's just a good, solid player, and really is a hard worker, and has been just great for our program.
Well, be good to honor her on Thursday. Coach, we'll let you go. Have a good week of practice. We'll see you Thursday night as you take on those Blue Tigers.
Okay, Gerard, thank you.
There you go, head coach Tony Hobson of the Tiger women. 5:30 on Thursday with Lincoln, 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon with Central Missouri. We need to take another break. When we come back, we'll talk men's basketball with head coach Mark Johnson. We are at the Golden Q. It's Tiger Talk on this Monday here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Fact: 8th Street Liquor is where good times start. Next fact: 8th Street Liquor has the best selection and prices on beer, liquor, and wine. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the facts, but the fact of the matter is, you just can't get better than 8th Street Liquor. Yep, 8th Street Liquor, where good times start. That's the fact. Jack? Oh yes, they have plenty of Jack too.
Here's Davis, top of the circle. Trajan did not play in the game in Hayes against these guys. Now to Rock, open for a three, and he hit it! They could not get out off the screen. Quinn Rock hits another three. He has 13 points. The Tigers start 9 of 9 from 3. Yeah, that was Wednesday of last week. Fort Hays State starting off a 3 games in 4-day stretch through Oklahoma. They go 2-1. It started with that remarkable win over Central Oklahoma. And welcome back to Tiger Talk, joined by head men's coach Mark Johnson. Yeah, 9 of 9 from 3 to start the game. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. And you just it got contagious, and everything you put up went in. You knew it wouldn't last. You just hoped you had enough in the tank to hold them off. But it's about as well-designed of a start. I'm sure that's what you talked about in the pregame locker room visit. Hit your first 9 threes, guys. We're going to have a good chance to win today.
Yeah, funny how that works. Yeah, I mean, it was tremendous. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I've ever been a part of a game that we start off 9 for 9 from 3, and and they all look good too. As soon as they left the shooter's hands, you knew they were going in, and got off to a great start. And I think we got it all the way up to maybe 18 in the first half, and you knew, I mean, that's not how the game was going to end. You knew they were going to make a run their home floor, and we did just enough to have an 8-point lead at half. And like we talked about immediately after the game, the big key for us that whole game was we never let them tie it or take the lead. They got it to 2 a couple times, had a chance to tie or hit a 3 to take the lead, and it never happened. And I think that just kind of kept us confident and found a way to make enough plays at the end to win. But, yeah, I mean, dream start, and really something we probably needed to have to be able to win the game.
Well, we talked about this road swing, 3 games in 4 days on the road. I mean, it was a grind, and for your team to go 2-1 and you get greedy, and then the way you lost to Rogers, I mean, it was right there to maybe win all 3, but still to go 2-1, it was a highly successful road trip, and to put your team in a position to still have a chance to get to the conference postseason tournament.
Oh yeah, and especially doing it in February. I don't know if people understand that quite as much. When you're playing at 4 days, there's a lot of travel compared to us in Kearney. A lot of travel maybe that other teams don't have to do. They're only doing maybe 1 or 2 4-day road trips the whole year. Like I said, it's the common. You get down to that middle of February, and here you are. We had to leave Tuesday at noon because of weather for a Friday or for the Wednesday next game. 5 days on the road. That's a lot. Like I said, especially in February. Thought our guys handled it great. Really committed to trying to have a great road trip. I thought we competed pretty hard all 3 games. And, I ended up having a successful trip. I mean, obviously you worry that Rogers game, that was kind of you look at the conference standings, that was kind of of the 3, the most, the one you probably would have liked to have the most would have been them. But still, at the end of the day, had a chance. We won 2 of 3. Our team's playing well right now. Hopefully we're able to finish the last 2 weeks of the season in the same fashion as far as really on an upswing, and hopefully we can continue that through the end of the year.
Well, we've talked about it before, but it's amazing. You start getting all your pieces back, and even though Nige and Gabe aren't 100% yet, but just their presence, the minutes they can give you, and I think we touched on this after the game, but, ability to take, whoever it is, maybe not playing as well, or even just to give them a little bit more of a break. They got fresher legs at the end. I mean, I think you're seeing it in Quentin's play and Caleb's play, and even Jared to an extent. He's fresher down the stretch than maybe he was a month ago when you didn't have those guys. But you add a couple of pieces to the pie now, and all of a sudden you're a different team.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, like I said, just for numbers of reasons. One, lets guys rest. I think it lets guys recover from bad moments in games. More guys fresher to finish games. Maybe that's part of why we're shooting it better now. And also gives you more options. Not everybody's going to be playing well every night. You know what I mean? And before, if Caleb and Quentin weren't playing well, we didn't have much of a chance to win. Now, they don't play necessarily well. We got Nige we can put in there. Nige's had a couple double-figure games. Gabe just gives us a little more mixture of a guy that just gives us solidness that maybe we were missing before. So there's just a lot of things that contribute to that. And, it makes a big difference. And, I think we're playing better partly because of it. I mean, obviously we're getting later in the year and you feel like you're young guys. We kind of said that at Missouri Western that, hey, our young guys aren't young guys anymore. And I was probably premature. I think we're starting to get to that point now here at the end of the year that really they're almost basically sophomores now. So there's a lot of things that have come together for us. Got a really tough stretch coming up, but feel like it's given us an opportunity. And if we play well and play as good as we're capable at times, then we feel confident we can win some of these games to finish up, but we'll have to play well.
Jordan Pumphrey, I thought, had a good weekend. 12 again he's become Mr. Saturday. I think he's been in double figures now the last 4 Saturdays, but he had that great game to start the year, and then I think he went like 12 straight without double figures and really struggled, but has come to life, and just his emergence now, another weapon offensively, but his defense and his rebounding have come along maybe as much and as more importantly than anything.
Yeah, that's another guy, talking about Gabe and Nige, but that really Jordan playing more, that gives us almost 3 new guys, even though Jordan had been here all year. And yeah, I mean, offensively, he's a good player. He shoots it pretty good. He has a good feel for the game. Even though he's not the most athletic guy, he kind of has an uncanny ability at 6'4", and he kind of shoots it above his head to get shots off against pressure and be able to make them. I mean, the big thing for him is just being able to stay out there long enough where his defense and rebounding don't get him taken out of the game. And I think he's gotten better at that than he did at the beginning of the year. And, he played well at Central Oklahoma. I thought he really played well in the second half against Northeastern State, and was a part of the reason why we were able to pull away and win. And again, it's just more options, more guys. If he's not playing well, you have the ability to sit him and go with other guys. But he's kind of one of those guys that when he's playing well, he can get hot in a hurry and make a lot of shots in a short period of time.
Well, 3 big games and 2 nice wins for you guys on the road as Fort Hays State I keep saying keeping your head above water. You get back to 500 and just haven't quite been able to get over the hump, but chance to do that here this week. It obviously won't be easy, but for these guys to persevere, because I think, 3-7 at one point, and it was kind of looking like it may be done, but for these guys to hang in there, stick together, and give themselves a chance at least says a lot about their makeup and character of this squad.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't laid down all year. I mean, we went we got it to 3-7, then you have a great win against Southern, and then that's really the only time we just were not prepared to play. The next in Pittsburgh. So, we were 4-8, and you look now we're 9-9. So I'm not the greatest math guy, but I mean, we've won 5 of our last 6. I think 6 of our last 8. We're playing better, and the guys just kept putting it together. But the big thing is, just adding pieces, you know what I mean, and getting some guys back, and has really made a difference. And that it also says the character of our guys. That can be a touchy situation. You play all year, and then you add two new guys to your rotation late in the year. There's a lot of teams that's you self-destruct. There's a lot of pettiness, jealousy. They don't care about who's helping me win. They want to play. You know what I mean? And I think that shows a lot about our guys, because, like I said, that can be a difficult thing for everybody involved to bring some guys. Now all of a sudden your minutes aren't what they were, and they've all accepted it and welcomed them back, glad to have them back, and helping us win games.
Well, Tigers go 2-1 on the 3-game swing. Now they are at home for their next 3. 2 scheduled games, Thursday with Lincoln, Saturday afternoon Central Missouri, and then a makeup with Missouri Western that was scheduled for earlier in January. That'll be made up next Tuesday. We'll talk about the 2 games still ahead and their implications when we come back. We're at the Golden Q. Your home for Tiger Talk, the Monday burger special, the grilled cheeseburger. So stop on by for that. And they've got the new poutine burger, and the new Cuban sandwich is the new Thursday special here at the Golden Q. Over 35 TVs, so if the game's on, they're open, the Golden Q, 2 blocks east of campus. We'll take our final break. Be back with more with men's coach Mark Johnson here on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
Fact: 8th Street Liquor is where good times start. Next fact: 8th Street Liquor has the best selection and prices on beer, liquor, and wine. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the facts, but the fact of the matter is, you just can't get better than 8th Street Liquor. Yep, 8th Street Liquor, where good times start. That's the fact. Jack? Oh yes, they have plenty of Jack too.
Here's Hammocky off a screen, kicks it over to Rock for a 3. He hammered it home from the left wing. Rock thought he got fouled. That's his 4th 3. He has 15. It's 52-43. Fort Hays State back on top by 9 on the Quinn Rock 3-pointer. Yeah, that was on Saturday. Tigers knock off Northeastern State 73-58. 15-point win, their largest win of the year. There's been a lot of games in that 5 to 10 point range this year. That one seemed like a blowout relatively compared to most of them. Tigers get the win, bound 500, 9-9. 2 big games coming up at home this week. I guess there is a 3rd game, but the last 2 scheduled home games, they'll make that one up with Missouri Western on Tuesday. Didn't even talk about Jared Vidstam. He had another double-double. You kind of mentioned kind of an easy 14 and 12, but went over the 1,000-point mark on Wednesday with a 3-pointer in the first half against UCO, and then got over the 600 rebound mark, one of only 8 players in Fort Hays State history to score at least 1,000 or more and 600 or more rebounds. You look at that list, pretty heady company that he just joined this week.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the rebounds, like I said, I mean, Jared's as good a defensive rebounder as I've ever been around. Whether when I was playing, assistant coach, head coach. I mean, the guy is just incredible defensive rebounder, has a knack to be able to just go get the ball. And then scoring, he's just really improved his game over time. When he first got here, okay shooter, wasn't much of an inside presence. Has really obviously improved his shooting, where he's a very good 3-point shooter, but he's also really developed his game now. He can score at the high post, the low post, a lot of different areas. Deserves a lot of credit. I mean, Jared has put in a lot of time and effort to have success, and he deserves all that he's getting. But like I said, he's put in a lot of time and effort for the results. It shows other people, because he's not the most athletic guy or the strongest guy or whatever. But I mean, he's just competitive and wants to do well and put in the time and effort to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish, and really happy for him.
Lincoln Blue Tigers, big game coming up on Thursday. They were played as well as anybody. Probably should have or very easily could have beat Northwest. Then they go and beat Western before COVID hit them, and then had a tailspin, lost 4 in a row, but now they're on a 2-game win streak. And you played so well against them there until the last 10 or so minutes, but different team. They've got a transfer who became eligible at semester, didn't play against you guys the first time you met him, playing now. They've got as much talent as anybody in this conference.
No, I'd agree. They looked the part too. We're adding this new kid. I mean, they got, like I said, they are big guys, physical guys. Even their point guard, Cam Potts, is the most physical guard we play all year. They're athletic. They shoot the ball pretty well. They play hard. They slow it down and get the ball where they want to go. I mean, yeah, very good team. It'll be a challenging game for us for sure, and games we got to have. They're 10-8, we're 9-9, we're 1 game behind with 4 to go. You kind of running out of games. If we want to make the conference tournament, we got to win some games here. And then obviously Central Missouri, who really gave us fits with how their guard pressured as we turned it over right and left at third place. So opportunity to bounce back here from when we played them the last time, and think we're a little bit different team than we were then, but we'll have to go out there and prove it.
You mentioned turnovers. It seems like in having Nige out there obviously helps that, your returning starting point guard. But it seems like teams getting better, even those who were having turnover issues maybe a month ago, kind of reined that in a little bit.
Yeah, I think we've done a better job. Who we're playing has something to do with that also a little bit. But I do think we have done a better job, taking care of the basketball. I thought Caleb's making better reads. He's done a good job getting some guy just penetrating, knowing when to pick it up and get it to the next guy and get open shots. And Quentin's really, again, I mean, part of it is, I'd be remiss if I didn't say some of the teams we're playing probably don't pressure quite as much. But I think Quentin has done a great job of taking care of the basketball, whatever's been the last 4 games or whatever it is. And then obviously we can talk next week about Missouri Western, but they're going to pressure us. We got to do better. And, it wasn't being there when we scheduled that game in front of Central Home. We were getting our teeth kicked in that night. It didn't feel like a great idea, but boy, it sure feels like a great idea now. We don't have to go back on the road for a 4-day road trip next week after being on a 5-day road trip this year. I think it really helps us, obviously, that we don't have to leave till next Friday, to go back out on the road and all that. So big games coming up, and we just need to take it one at a time, and they'll all be a challenge. But on our home floor, we always feel like we have an opportunity to beat anybody anytime we play in Gross, and hopefully we play well.
Sounds good. Mark, I appreciate you not rescheduling it this week also. We'll see you on Thursday night at the Coliseum.
All right, thanks, George.
There you go, Mark Johnson, coach of the Tigers. That's going to wrap it up for Tiger Talk here from the Golden Q. It's brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors, the Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. BTI, your area John Deere dealer, and G&L Tire and Automotive. They're on the bricks in downtown Hayes. And, of course, the Golden Q, 2 blocks east of campus. The Golden Q, if the game's on, they're open. For Mark Johnson, Tony Hobson, this is Gerard Welbrock. So long, everyone.